Welcome to the Education Corner, a podcast by Education Choices magazine.
Education Corner podcast would like to welcome Mr. Guy Sanderson, Headmaster at Eltham College in South East London, and Mr. Gideon Hammond, Teacher of Maths, Physics and Lead on Race, Ethnicity and Cultural Heritage, to discuss not only the college and all they offer, but also their recent work and initiatives related to equality, diversity and inclusion. We're thrilled to welcome you to our Education Corner podcast. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the history and aims of Eltham College?
Chloe and listeners, thank you very much indeed for this chance to talk to you. It's great to be here. Yes, Eltham College has been here in a corner of South East London for 180 years. We've just celebrated our anniversary this year. So it feels great to be talking about the heritage and what we're doing this year. We were set up as a school for the sons of missionaries back in the Victorian day when missionaries went out across the globe. And you may have heard of some of our famous old boys like Eric Liddell competed in the 1912 Olympics. We've changed a great deal since then. We're much larger. We're academically focused. We're now co-educational, whereas in his day, obviously, we were an all-boys school. And we've moved slightly just down the road from Blackheath down to an area called Mottingham, the large set of playing fields behind the school.
And you've been overseeing significant change to the school over the past few years. And it's grown, and obviously, as you've just mentioned, has gone fully co-educational. How is that going?
We've grown a little. We're probably at our optimal size now. I want to try and keep the school small and community focused. And so for that, for us, means year groups of about 120 students. I don't want to be one of those schools where people get lost in the crowd, where it's sort of too big and people don't know people's names. So that really matters. So we've grown a little bit, but we're at that kind of size. Co-ed has gone incredibly well. It's been really well received in the local area. The junior school, after 4 years, is now fully co-ed, 50-50 in almost every single year group. And in the senior school, girls comprise at least a third of each year group, apart from the two that are still filling through that are all boys. So we're expecting in 2 years' time, the school will be fully co-ed with year groups of roughly 50-50. What's been wonderful seeing as the girls have joined the school, I should say joining the school, we've had girls in the sixth form for 40 years. So joining is a wrong phrase, let me correct that. Joining at different points in the school. What's been wonderful seeing them as they do that is the way in which both boys and girls have integrated so smoothly and seamlessly, and in which girls have risen to the standard the boys have achieved in this school already. So let me give you one example. In sport, boys have consistently been Kent, the local county champions in 3 different sports. And girls, after just 3 years of co-education, are already matching them in netball, which is not a bad achievement for a co-ed school after just 3 years to be beating lots of all-girls schools in Kent and one of their favourite sports. So it's gone really well sportingly, and obviously you'd expect from a kind of music, drama and academically, it's been pretty smooth and seamless as well. We're really delighted.
And it probably reflects the world that they're going to go into in a very big way. What do you feel are the opportunities and challenges facing independent schools in 2023 and beyond?
And the opportunities are still exactly as they've always been, and that is to provide a great, rich education, pastorally, academically, co-curricular. But the headwinds are strong, and you won't have to go far from reading a newspaper headline to see those headwinds are strong. But most independent schools, I think, are rising to the challenge. And we're doing that in a way that, for most of us, stays true to our roots. And so for us, that means staying locally based in the community and focusing on things like the work that Gideon is doing in terms of outreach and making sure that we serve the local community rather than becoming a school that is aloof and remote from everybody else.
You place great emphasis on community in Eltham. Could you explain a little bit more about what this means, the importance of working and engaging with the local community, and perhaps some of the examples it's bringing both to the school and to the children in particular?
Okay, that's a really helpful question, actually. Community matters to us. We look at it in 2 ways. One is the internal community, what it means for students and staff and parents to be supporting and working with each other. And for that, I'm really quite keen that Eltham doesn't become a trans London school where students are drawn from every corner of London. I still very much want to be a school that serves the local area where students can get to know each other and families remain connected. I've got 3 children of my own. One of them was at a different school before we went co-ed, and having to drive half an hour outside of our normal area. So she was traveling about an hour every day to get to school and then back and forth. And her friends were on the other side of London. It doesn't work as a kind of community. So we stay true to the area in which we are, and that therefore means the students also go out and serve that community. So there's a big outreach program for sixth form students to be serving in local care homes and local schools and giving back into the community that way. We've also started a big bursary program, and that's very much aimed at students locally who can't afford places at independent schools. And mindful of that, we're trying to make sure that the school is welcoming for people from all different races and backgrounds. And Gideon's work on that has been really instrumental in making sure that the school is fit for the 21st century.
And finally, obviously, it's a fantastic school and you are the headmaster. What do you feel in your time there have been the challenges that you've faced? I mean, we've obviously been through a lockdown and everything, which has been challenging for everyone. But how do you feel you've been able to overcome the different things that have gone on over the past few years?
Lockdown certainly was one of the biggest challenges in school leadership that I can think of. I've been here 8 years, and those are probably the two hardest years. And they were hard for running a school remotely. We did it well. I'm really, really proud of the way in which teachers and students stepped up and did a whole version of Eltham Online, Eltham at home, and teaching was pretty seamless. Parents were incredibly supportive in that process as well. But it was very hard running a school in those circumstances. Hard simply because we didn't see the students. And that's what a school is about. It's about the vibrant connection between people on a day-to-day basis. But everybody behind a screen, that's gone. And we've lost that sort of joie de vivre of being in school together. So 2 years of lockdown were certainly the hardest, but we're back together. And the buzz in school is much, much stronger for everybody who remembers those 2 years.
Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. And we're now going to move over to Gideon.
Thank you, Chloe.
Education Corner podcast are thrilled to welcome Gideon Hammond, teacher of maths, physics, and lead on race, ethnicity, and cultural heritage at Eltham College. We understand that you have quite a diverse intake of students and would love to hear more about how you celebrate this at the college.
Hi there, Chloe. Thank you for welcoming me onto the podcast. Yeah, so at Eltham College, we have a broad pupil body. And so for many culture and ethnic backgrounds, that includes Black, Asian, many parts of continental Europe and across the UK as well. So with that said, we think it's really important to embed relational discussions so that we can best get on with each other. This comes from our wellbeing curriculum led by Miss Nicola Billsby, where we focus on Eltham College's 5 R's. So those are respect, relationships, responsibility, resilience, and readiness. The idea behind this being that if we can put this at the center of what we do, then our actions are based on thought and reflection. And this keeps us balanced for daily life and it helps us engage with each other in a much more positive way. Of course, we have our pastoral team as well, which we combine together to encourage students to be respectful to each other, to ensure that we are fostering society that is one of positivity. I guess in smaller ways as well, we have themed lunches, celebrating cuisines from around the world and through the curriculum. My personally favourite week is Modern Languages Week, where we celebrate language, customs and lifestyles of other cultures. Again, it's important to understand each other and to welcome and celebrate each other's differences.
We understand that one of the key roles you are playing at the school is addressing issues around equality and diversity, anti-racism, and working with the school's wider pastoral team. Could you tell us a little bit more about this work that is taking place?
Central to all that we do at Eltham, we respect and understand that actually the pupils drive change. And so pupil voice is really important to us. We have a wide range of initiatives, specific initiatives that include not only discussions from teachers to our pupils through form time discussions, but we have pupil leadership through our Pride Society, FemSoc, Afro-Caribbean Society, Equality Committee, which is a broad committee for the whole school change. And then we have the Changemaker Society as well. And this is in addition to the work of our wellbeing programme.
You just expand a little bit for us. I mean, that's obviously some fantastic societies that are going on there, but could you tell us a little bit more about that Afro-Caribbean Society?
Yeah, certainly. So the Afro-Caribbean Society, first and foremost, is not uniquely for pupils from Afro-Caribbean heritage. However, what it does is it focuses on discussions, issues, celebrations from that kind of underrepresented group of society. Probably the thing we're proudest of this year for certain is our celebration of Black History Month, which in our school was Black History 2 weeks because of half term. But over those 2 weeks, we had genuinely an amazing representation of culture, of understanding, of interest into Afro-Caribbean values, heritage and lifestyle. We had a talk almost every day. I think it was 9 talks. We had Ansel Wong, MBE, come in, who was central to Black History Month in the UK. And then we also had a food celebration that second week, which, of course, at school is going to be a hit amongst all of the children. So it was really positive.
You were going to also tell us a little bit about the Teaching Insight programme.
Yeah, we mentioned all of these. I'm not sure which one I'm most proud of, actually, but Teacher Insight program certainly up there as well. So the Teacher Insight program is in its second year now. And essentially what it is an opportunity for the school to attract more people into teaching, and especially candidates from historically underrepresented groups. As we as a school recognise the importance of diversity of all types, the value it brings to the school, and particularly in the role modelling for our pupils. So it's something just pieces of the diversity and equality puzzle that Eltham College can help to solve and help to contribute to.
And how are you reaching out to these teachers?
So we work closely with a number of organisations. Perhaps most notably is ASEN, the Afro-Caribbean Education Network. We also, for our marketing team, will communicate this on TES, through our own website, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, any sort of outlet we try to get out there.
And then you also are involved in adopting a Halo code. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the Halo Code is an external body, and what their goal is, and what they're encouraging schools to do, is support students and staff in wearing their natural Afro hair, which previously has been recognised as an issue for particularly Black individuals in professional environments and in schools. We've signed up to say that actually at Eltham College, we are a school that recognises difference and celebrates that, even through the expression through your hair.
It says also a school-wide curriculum review is underway, looking at how teaching and learning can reflect the diversity of the school student body. What sort of things are Eltham College considering in this?
Yeah, so it's been a massive undertaking, the curriculum reviews. It's been a mainstay on our head of departments meetings for the last year. And what we're looking at doing is improving diversity of representation across the curriculum. And we do that through really thinking about the stories we tell and who tells those stories. So, we might, for example, in history, look at empires. And traditionally, we look at the British Empire. But actually, there are other empires across the whole world, and there always have been. And so actually bringing in other stories to tell, especially when those stories are reflective of the individual's backgrounds in our pupil body, really adds a lot of value to the children's education in a broader sense.
And you've introduced one particular measure, phonetic pronunciation of students' names. Can you tell us more about that initiative and the difference it has made to students and staff?
I think it's probably best to start to answer this question with a quote by Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People. He says, "Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language." And I think what that does is imbues and encapsulates the sense of belonging we are trying to achieve at the school. So our Every Name Matters initiative launched last year, and it was in response to results from the Flair Impact Survey, which we commissioned to understand sentiments of racial equity. In our follow-up discussions with pupils, we found that the name mispronunciation led to some students feeling insecure or even inferior when their names were pronounced incorrectly. We formed a working group of teachers and support staff to design and implement a system to tackle this. And proudly, we have been able to do this. So we compiled a list of student names and their phonetic spellings, which were then rather fortuitously retrofitted to a module in our ISAMS, or School's General Management Information System. And to date, we have over 300 names on the register at both the junior and senior schools, so that when teachers mark the register, they can pronounce each student's name correctly. They have that prompt right there to change behaviours. I think the bit that I really enjoyed as well is that in addition to these phonetic spellings, we ask students to speak their own name into a voice recorder. So the audio files now are exclusive to teachers and are readily available on the staff intranet for easy access. And most importantly, limitless re-listens. So instead of having our pupils constantly having to go into class, get their name mispronounced, and having to say, no, it's X, not Y, and so on and so forth, what is now possible is for staff to take some of that weight. So the Every Name Matters initiative essentially is a way of understanding, respecting people's individuality through their name and celebrating that as much as possible, as well as taking some of the weight off of children to kind of continuously go through the process of correcting people. Proudly, it's part of our admissions process now. And so at the earliest engagement with the school, we are getting children's names pronounced correctly, which has made a big difference.
Very good. How has the school community reacted to the initiative?
Oh, it's been so positive. One of my most nervous moments was, oh, we're going to do all this work and then it's not really valued as much. But I'm so happy to say that that's been the complete opposite. We've had, so from the children's perspective, we've had children say, at my last school, they used to get my name wrong and they don't hear. We've had children say, it was nice to hear my surname pronounced correctly when receiving their colours, a proud moment for them and their family. We've also had children say, who were at the school before the initiative and still at school after, they've noticed a reduction in the frequency at which they have to correct people. So from a pupil's perspective, it's been absolutely fantastic and it really fills me with a lot of joy and pride. And from the staff perspective as well, there are a lot of staff faculties that aren't pupil facing. For example, the finance department. The finance department have kind of explicitly said to me that they found it so useful when engaging with families to just be able to get their name right straight away. And actually, families have also really valued that. I've got a list of quotes I could probably refer to. Generally, it's been so positive, not only from the teachers' side of things, but from staff as well, and from new staff as well.
Well, that's fantastic. And as we all know, getting someone's name right is a very important step in getting to know any child or anyone, really. So I'm glad that it's going so well. Thank you so much for joining us on our Education Corner podcast. And we look forward to hearing more from Eltham College in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure.